Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for hanging out with me again today. Today we're just gonna be having a conversation for a minute. I just want to clear up some things and maybe give some insight to some people that might be having questions. Now, ever since I shared the video of me doing my solo camp a few days ago, I've been getting a lot of questions from folks asking, why I did it, and talking about the considerations of going to something like that and how hard is it to get into. So I thought I'd share today some of the points, some tips on if you want to get into solo camping, if you want to go out by yourself, how to get into that. So let's jump into it right now. Now, before you go any further, if this is of any value to you, if you've been liking what you're seeing on the channel so far, be sure to like, subscribe, share. It's really something I'm enjoying. But I'd really love to see more people getting into it and giving some encouragement, really. So just take a moment, hit the subscribe button. It doesn't hurt, doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me, it helps the channel grow. So let's do that. But let's start talking about solo camping. Now, I really like it. I like going out and getting a break. I really like being life is full, life is fast, and sometimes you don't get a chance to slow down. And as much as it's a lot of fun going out camping with my family, with the kids, they really enjoy it, but it usually requires a whole lot of energy on my part. So sometimes even when I get to go out by myself, it's a little bit more slow paced. I'm a little bit more in charge of the schedule, and it feels a lot more relaxing than other times. So that's why I tend to gravitate to a retreat every once in a while. So perhaps maybe my first point or my first suggestion to anyone thinking about solo camping is to think about why you want to do it. And it may seem like yeah, I want to go camping. Okay, cool. But why you do it will also lead into a lot of other parts of the considerations when it comes to planning, and you'll see what I mean as we continue talking. If you're somebody that likes people, but you want your own space a little bit, so you might not necessarily mind going to a space that's occupied by others, as long as you have your own little corner, and that's fine. If you're somebody that is looking for solitude, then you're having to think about whether how far into the wilderness you're willing to go, and that's gonna inform your packing and a lot of the planning. So that's why I say start by identifying the why. Why do you want to go out camping by yourself? And what are you hoping to get out of it? Once you nail that down, then you can move on to the second step, in my opinion, which would be to start small. And this is, I would really encourage this. Start small. Your first solo camping trip doesn't have to be for 4 days. There's no rule that says if it's not more than 2 days, it's not a real camp. There's nothing like that. To be honest, it doesn't even have to be overnight. If you want to, go out early one morning, set up a tent somewhere, chill for the day, pack up and go back home, that's fine. You camp for the day by yourself. But I would suggest you start small, either by one day or one night, just to get a feel for it, get an idea of, what your tolerances are, what your preferences are, nothing that you're committing to. Just get out there. And again, start with a one night, get a feel for it, learn the things you like to take with you, the things that are optional, and because the more you do this, the more you learn. Every time you go camping, you learn something new. You learn about positioning your tent. You learn about picking a site based on access to water. You learn, all those little things. Some of it will come by trial and error, and it's easier to deal with an error when it's only for one night. If you've already set up tent for 3 nights and then realize that it's a 20-minute walk to the water source, that's gonna eat into the fun. So yeah, that would be my number 2 point. Start small. After you start small, again, I would say my next step would be start local. You don't have to travel 16 hours, 7 hours up into the bush. You don't have to park and hike 8 hours up the mountain in order to be camping. That's not a necessity. You could actually just find a campground close by you, maybe within an hour, 30 minutes, somewhere close to an urban center that would allow you to, if you forgot your toothbrush, you can go and pick one up on the way, things like that. So you start local, And again, this is where it comes back to why you want to camp, because if you're looking for solitude, there are campsites that are around, that people are around, but you know, the sites are shaded by trees, so you feel secluded. There are others that are more open, and then you have people that are coming and going, and again, you don't mind, but it's close by. And the reason, the one of the other benefits of starting small like that too, is that there's strength in numbers, and to some extent there's safety in numbers. So you know, solo camping doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be solitary in your camping. You can camp by yourself, but people are around in case there's an emergency, in case there's any, you know, need for help, something like that. So if you start at a campground, at a campsite where people are, then you know there's benefits to that. Again, if you want a shaded spot, or you know, a lot of spaces will have their tent only spots that are shaded and treed, and you know, so you feel like you're in the wilderness to some extent. It's not going to be the you know, the full wilderness experience, but again, it's where you start and you're learning and practicing. So you're starting local, and you're starting where there is support. Again, you know, access to an urban center is really helpful. There are times where you might forget ice, you might forget to pick up something, and you know, it's easy to run out and get it. But if you're up in the bush, then it is what it is. But yeah, local is good. Just checking my notes here. What's the next thing? This is something that I find is very beneficial to me. Start close to your car. There's no shame in being close to your car. You don't have to be 5 hours from your vehicle. If it allows you to move quickly if you need to. It also allows you to be a little bit more flexible with your packing, because you might end up wanting to take some extra things, and it's okay if it stays in the car. You might not need it, but it's there if you need it. So being close to your vehicle is another positive step. You know, sometimes it can get really cumbersome if you have to make multiple trips back and forth from the car to the campsite. So if you're close to it, that cuts that down. If you need to move quickly, you can. Again, like I mentioned earlier, if you need to run out for supplies, you can leave your tent, run out quickly, come back. So you know, I've been on. Last year, I went on a backpacking trip with a bunch of friends. That's when I got this bag here, and you know, we were 6-7 hours up into the mountain. Whatever you left in the truck was staying in the truck until you come back down. And thankfully I went with friends, with experienced campers. You know, it was manageable. But if I'm going out by myself, I haven't ventured off into the wilderness by myself yet. I'm working up to that. So staying close to your vehicle is a good idea. The next thing that I would say is, and this probably is going to be you know, a given, common sense, but you'd be surprised. Pack only what you need. You're gonna come back home. You don't need to take home with you. If you're going, when I go camping, I go to relax, I go for a break. So I don't necessarily need a whole lot of things that's gonna make things cumbersome. And so I break things down in my mind as to what it is that I'm gonna, the bases that I need to cover. So of course, first of all, we need food. We need food. Now, I have, and you see this in my last video as well, I have this stove that I bought for camping, and it comes with, you know, you get your cylinder, you have your travel pots and pans and so on if you want to make food, and this is good, you know. But what if you don't have this? Well, pack a sandwich, pack of several sandwiches. I know people who buy pizza and go camping. Just take food with you. You don't have to cook at camp for it to be camp. You know, you get a few granola bars or something like that just to tide you through the night, and you're back home the next day. You can make anything you want in your kitchen. But you know, you pack what you need. You pack what now, if you are going out looking for a wilderness cooking experience, by all means you'll need to have a fire or some source of fire. Where I live, a lot of times there are fire bans because it's so dry, so you might not be able to make a wood fire. If you can, build a fire, cook over the open flame. If not, you get a stove like this with your pot and you cook. I actually like cooking out in the bush, so I always have my own supplies and I make my own meals out there. But yeah, you bring food. Yeah, make sure you have food and water, lots of water. That's probably the only thing I'd say you want to pack extra of, water, because you know, some days are hotter than others, and thirst can be a real skill, like they say. So pack some extra fluids, pack some extra water, and make sure you have your food. You also want to make sure you're clothed properly. You don't need 7 changes of clothes for a short trip. you do not. If you have an extra shirt, extra pair of underwear, you're good. You can make do. So you don't have to pack the whole house, but you want to make sure you dress, you have enough clothes, and you have appropriate clothes. Don't be packing the thickest things on the hottest days. Be smart about it and make sure that you're comfortable the whole way. Things to sleep in, or a sleeping setup. I have a sleeping bag, and I was lucky enough to cop a cheap sleeping pad. This is optional, but if some people will go camping with just blankets, lay it on the ground and sleep. If you're that flexible, that's fine. If you have your car, you can very well throw an air mattress in there and you're good. If you're backpacking, it's a little bit more tricky, but you want to make sure that you account for the sleep setup, because sleep is important, especially when you're out there. You want to make sure you give your body time to rejuvenate and come back to life. And I don't have it out here with me, but I always have a small first aid kit wherever I go. Scrapes and cuts will happen. A bandage and a little bit of alcohol wipes. A good idea, very good idea. Keep things clean, and we'll get you back to civilization where you can get patched up real quick. But I'd say that's about it. You want your food, your water, your clothes, your sleeping setup, and a little bit of a first aid. Again, sleeping setup is gonna include a tent. I don't know if I needed to say that, but yeah, that's a good idea. You don't, unless you want to sleep under the stars, that's up to you, but a tent is not a bad idea. And then moving on from that, what's the next thing I would say? Share your location. Now this is tricky because you're going away by yourself because you want to escape people, but at least one person needs to know where you are. At least one person needs to be able to give directions in case you don't come back, or if you call and say, you know what, I went hiking and I got lost, send some help. They have the general idea of where you are. So let somebody know. If you're really worried about people following you, then you can tell somebody that doesn't have a car or somebody that lives far away, but just make sure you share that location. It's someone, it's for your own safety, and it can come in really handy if things go sideways, which it can. And then lastly, I'd suggest you lean into it. You're going camping. It's not going to be you're going to be missing some of your home comforts. It's going to be new, it's going to be different. It might not be convenient at all times, but there comes a time where you need to reset, you need to rejuvenate yourself, you need to reconnect with you. Spending some time with yourself, by yourself, is a great idea. So I would encourage anyone to just lean into it, give it a shot. If you've never tried it before, I urge you, before the summer is over, give it a shot. One night, that's all I'm saying. I'm challenging you. And if you want to come back, share a comment in the comment section, tell me how it was. Tell me if it's something you do again. Just go out there by yourself, listen to your own thoughts, be your own friend, be your own company, and see how much of a difference it makes. If it doesn't work out for you, I want to hear too, right? So why doesn't it work for you? Because it might not be for everybody. And also, if it is that you think I left something very important off the list, be sure to drop a comment. I'm always open to learning. Like I say, I'm new to this as well. I really like it, but I know I have a lot to learn. So yeah, I'll maybe just leave those 7 tips with you to get you started. Don't be shy about it. Go out there, try it. You might just like it. You might find that you like it. So until next time, continue to try the new things, continue to spread your wings. And again, like I started, drop a subscribe. I'd appreciate it as we continue to just lean into life and enjoy new things as we move forward. Take care till next time. Thank you for hanging out. Be well. I'll wrap this up right here. Take care.